SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine because it's nearly the end of the year. I'm Fernando Noodt, business journalist for SBC Noticias, and your host for today's episode of iGaming Daily, and we are nearly in 2025, and I couldn't be happier. This year is finally over because there's a lot that has been going this year, so it's fun to get to this stage and recap all about it. But there's still things going on this year, a lot going on, and that's why today we are gathered here to recap everything and to go through the latest news with editor for SBC Noticias Brasil, Ricardo Assis. Ricardo, how are you today?
Hi, Fer. I'm really well, and you? Everything fine?
Everything is just perfect. I actually really like the Christmas time, so I'm in a very good mood, as well as is, for what I see, Isadora Marcante, relationships manager, Brazil. How are you, Isa?
I'm very good, Fer. How are you? I'm really happy to be with Ricardo and Anna once again. And yeah, I'm ready for Christmas. I cannot wait. I've been ready since October. I'm too excited.
Yeah, we can see your Christmas tree behind you for those that can't see it and are listening to us. Isa has her Christmas tree behind her. So, yeah, we get the Christmas vibe. And you mentioned Anna, so you kind of, spoiler alert, Ana Maria Menezes is also here, business journalist for SBC Noticias Brasil. Anna, how are you?
Hi guys, pretty excited to be here, pretty excited for the end of the year as well. I love Christmas too. I should have just taken all these books behind me and turned into a tree. I'm going to learn that for the next time. For next time, I'm going to do it. Just wait and see, Yeah, hashtag Brazil wait and see. We will need a picture of that, and we can upload it to the iGaming Daily social media. So, but yeah, I really like the Christmas trees, the decoration and everything. But I also like Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market and sponsor of iGaming Daily. As a special offer, Optimove are offering new clients a free first month when they buy Optimove. For more information and claim the free month, go to optimove.com/SBC. We will also leave the links down in the episode description so you can find them easily. But we were speaking about things that are still going down this year because we are soon to the official launch of the new licensing model of Brazil, which has, of course, the process has started a long time ago, but new licenses will be enforced in January 1st. But there's still a lot going on around the sports betting and iGaming industry, as the Brasilia Federal Regional Court has ruled against the Attorney General of Brazil in the case that they not restricting the operator's license by Loterj. Ricardo, why don't you take us through the ruling and what it means for the industry?
Yeah, it's an ongoing dispute that's been going on for the last few months, and the regional court, the Brasilia Federal Regional Court, has ruled against the Attorney General office, like you said, and maintained the suspension on those ordinances that establish the licensing only by the federal government. So the Loterj can still offer license to the operators, so they still can offer the same things that they've been offering for a while. I think this is going to take a little bit longer to get resolved, because it's going to be resolved only on the Supreme Court, because on the legal basis, Loterj has a really strong case, and I think Isadora can talk a little bit more about the things that Loterj is saying about.
Yeah, Isa, where do you see the case going in the future, and how has the industry reacted, of course, to the ruling that favored Loterj?
The industry is very divided, actually. Like, some people see the situation as, okay, Loterj is just following the rules and following the law because they are allowed to do that. The law states that. Some other people say no, like the federal law should prevail over the state law and so on. But like Ricardo mentioned, it's going to be this dispute's going to be solved in the long run. I don't think we'll see any resolutions next year. I don't think not even in 2026, to be honest. because Loterj can do what they are doing. This all started, like I said in previous podcasts before, episodes. Loterj can do what they're doing when Michel Temer, our president in 2018, published the law of sports betting in Brazil. The law included sports betting considers sports betting as a lottery modality. And then in 2020, we had the Supreme Court saying that the federal government cannot actually own they're not the only ones who can actually offer lotteries to their public, allowing states.
It actually ended the monopoly.
Exactly, they end the monopoly of offering lotteries in Brazil. So, and the provisional measure actually, when was published after this licensing paper, let's say like that Loterj published. So they published before, the provisional measure came saying whatever was published before, it's valid. Whatever comes next after the provisional measure has to follow the rules of the federal government. So actually Hazen Clever, who is the president of Loterj, is not doing anything wrong. They're actually fighting for what was already stated by the federal law with Temer, with the Supreme Court, and then with the provisional measure. Obviously, I don't think the federal government predict what was going to happen. They didn't see this coming. I don't think it was something that let's do that, and we know we could have a problem with this in the future. But so what? I don't care. I don't think that was the case. But I don't think they realized that all the possible, like they didn't actually analyze all the possible scenarios that we could have after ruling all this stuff. Like I mentioned, the industry is very divided. We talked a lot about that in the past weeks, amongst us professionals of the industry. So it's a very delicate case. Hashtag wait and see. We've been saying this since last year, since I think the first episode that we talked about Brazil. We always have to wait and see what's going to happen because it's quite insane, some things.
Yeah, from what I hear, it's kind of a matter of phrasing and the words they used when they first authorized the industry, when they first authorized sports betting, branding it as a lottery,
exactly.
As a lottery game.
That was the main problem. Like, I'm going to do a t-shirt reading, Temer, look what you did. Or look what you've done. It's your fault. You didn't predict this, but it's your fault.
Hashtag I blame Temer.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of Loterj, which has been, of course, in the mouth of in everyone's mouth, and of course in the judicial system, but also in the Congress, because the conflict with Loterj was one of the key discussion points of the CPI das Bets, or the Congressional Commission that addressed the segment that addressed betting, of course. But the CPI das Bets, this Congressional Commission, is now under scrutiny according to the President of the Senate, Rodrigo Pacheco. Ana, why don't you tell us what happened here?
Yes, sure. So a somewhat curious thing has been going on in the Senate. So Rodrigo Pacheco, the President of the Senate, so he hinted to senators of the CPI das Bets that he intends to shorten the committee's work, especially it was scheduled to end in April, actually. But this move comes from amid rumors that business people in the sports betting sector are being targeted by extortion schemes. So it's a pretty big deal, involving alleged intermediaries claiming influence within the commission. So Pacheco actually doesn't have the formal power to dissolve the CPI, but he can still push strategies, to weaken it. So he can advise senators to boycott the sessions. And last week, actually, the situation escalated when Senator Ciro Nogueira, he reported to Pacheco that there are suspicions of a Brasilia-based lobbyist that has been extorting business people. So claiming to act in cahoots, I love this word, despite the fact of what it means, cahoots with CPI members. So according to Nogueira, actually, Silvio de Assis, this alleged lobbyist, he allegedly demanded 40 million reais. So I don't know what the conversion would be exactly in dollars, from a businessman to prevent him from being summoned to testify before the committee. So this is actually something pretty huge. We're going to see how it goes. Actually, Nogueira also pointed out that Silvio's names has been linked to the CPI rapporteur, Senator Soraya Trotnik. And so he actually he said that Soraya has close ties to this lobbyist. So this is actually a pretty big wait and see. Let's see how it goes. So Soraya denied the accusations. Of course, she admitted that she knows him, this lobbyist, but she said that they don't have any friendship or anything like it. But yeah, it's a pretty big wait and see to check how that one turns out.
Of course, let's not convert the reais to US dollars because we don't want to jinx the currency exchange rate, right? Right now it's a bit volatile to speak about how much reais to USD is, but hopefully that remains stable for a while. Is certainly a wait and see situation here because it's a very, very deep accusation, a very serious accusation. But we'll see how it develops. And if to see how it develops, remember you have to subscribe to the newsletter of SBC Noticias Brasil, because that's where you will get your insights, your details, your information about everything going on in the country, as well as, of course, listening to iGaming Daily and subscribing and liking and all that stuff.
SBC Leaders connects the gambling industry's top-tier operators and associations to share the best ideas, collaborate on solving the biggest issues, and push innovation throughout the betting and gaming industry. If you're an operator and want to join the discussion, visit sbcleaders.com for more information.
But some episodes ago, speaking of information, we also talked about the push to ban welfare beneficiaries from using the money coming from those plans in iGaming and sports betting, which now seems unlikely to happen, Ricardo.
Yeah, so the Attorney General Office has appealed a decision from the Supreme Court saying that they don't have the technical ability to prohibit the use of the money that comes from the government in betting, because after the money goes to the people account, it gets mixed with money from other sources, because many beneficiaries, like 99% of the beneficiaries, get money from other sources as well. So they receive from work, they receive from other people, they receive from other ends. So they can't distinguish the money that comes from the government from the money that comes from other sources. So the Attorney General Office asked for the Supreme Court to give more guidelines on how how they can do it, because they don't know how to do it. They ask more time and they ask more for guidelines, because in the technical standpoint, it's impossible to do. They can't do it. So I think this is something that's going to take a while, because the Supreme Court has said it again, that they have to do it, that this is an order and stuff like that. But it's something that in the technical perspective, it's not doable, at least in this point. So we have to wait and see, like we say.
Yeah, I think governments really like to try to enforce things, announce things, different measures, but then they realize that the technical aspect is a very, very big deal. And sometimes, and even dare I say most times, it's impossible to do what they want to do in the labs they want to do it. So it's definitely a tricky situation for the welfare beneficiaries. But we are just a few days, like we said, from January the 1st and the effective launch of new licenses in Brazil. So we, of course, will learn a lot about how the industry develops and how it's going in 2 months from now, on February 25th through the 27th at SBC Summit Rio 2025. So be sure to be there. But last week, we also heard from industry experts during SBC Digital Brasil 2024. Isa, you moderated most panels actually during the event. So what were the main takeaways from SBC Digital Brasil?
I can say it was like we had free classes to everyone interested in joining the industry or learning more about the industry or knowing the people who were part of the industry. It was a great event. We had over 700 registered we broke the records of SBC. Like, it was insane. The high level of participants as well, like online attendees were very active on the group chats. They were sending questions, sharing their thoughts. We heard a lot of compliments ever. Like, we had people coming to us saying it was a great webinar. Thank you so much. I couldn't end my year in a better way, like in terms of knowledge and learning more about the industry. So it was a great timing, actually. Like, a bit, I think, like in the beginning, I think we were a bit concerned about having this in like mid-December, because obviously in Latin America and in Brazil, people are leaving for holidays. It's almost Christmas and New Year's. It's summer here. So it was a bit like concerning for us, but at the same time, we wanted to do that just before the Rio event. Like you mentioned, like the Rio next year is going to be the first event after the regulated market is enforced. So it was nice to see this. I would say, like, I always say that this event was an appetizer for what is coming in Rio. We talked about regulation. We talked about the Loterj versus the federal government case. We talked about localizing your products for the Brazilian market. We talked about what's going to happen with the affiliation market, because everything's a bit blurry. We're not very certain of like the rules for affiliation. It was great. It was really good. We have such great panels. Ricardo was also a moderator. Elisa, who is not here, was also a moderator. It was really, really, really good and good for people to understand more about the industry and about what SBC actually can offer in our events, especially in Rio.
Yeah. For my part, I think Isadora has covered it really well, but it was my first opportunity to moderate one of these panels, and it was incredible to have a lot of good insights, a lot of great participation in the chat as well. My panel was about the player preferences and how the regulation can impact in these things, because now we have the prohibition of welcome bonuses. And I think it is, like Isadora said, was a free class, because the amount of information that we gathered in these webinars was huge, was really, really huge. And to be able to hear from so many experts that are like molding this industry. These are the people that are going to lead us in this new era of sports betting here in Brazil. So it's really important to know, to hear what they have to say about regulation, about player preference, about QIC, and the key aspects of the regulation.
Yeah, and a big shout out also to Scott Fulton, Martin Elliott, and Jack Howe, who were behind the organization of the event. But also, Anna, you were at Florianopolis for also an event, and you were face to face with the industry. Why don't you tell us how it felt, how the people are expecting the new year and the new market?
First of all, this was my first solo event. So I was just all by myself, just throwing there, and just had to, do some networking all by myself. So, I mean, I made it happen, which was great. It was a great experience. But to be
you're
honest,
a great talker. So I don't think you had a hard time networking, to be honest.
I mean, you have to come up to people and just say, "Oh, who are you? I'm this person." So sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes when we're at our own events, we can just say, "Oh, so I'm part of this event that you're at." But what happens when it comes to the time where you're not the host? So not being the host was a very frightening and at the same time fun experience. But I learned a lot about how the esports industry is playing a pretty big part on the betting industry as well. So sometimes we're just so focused on live sports, so just as like football, etc., football or soccer or American football as well, gymnastics, whatever. And we can sometimes forget the role of esports. So esports are a pretty big deal right now. And it was very fun to just understand how the market works, because I'm not that familiar. Of course, because they have their own environment, is such a pretty big deal. And it was very nice hearing from people that are experts from this area, especially in terms of revenue. So it's a very big in terms of financial investment as well. It's a pretty big area, and people should definitely be on the lookout for it. It's pretty huge. And yeah, I think that it was very fun to hear this new perspective, you know?
Yeah, I bet it was. And that will be all for today. We are all very expectant, very anxious about what's going to happen in just a few days, not only because it's Christmas, but I'm talking about January 1st and the beginning of a new era for Brazil. But for all of you out there, thank you very much. Feliz Natal. Merry Christmas for everyone. Thank you, Isa, Ricardo, Anna. Thank you very much, Anaya McDonald, for producing these episodes. And to all of you out there, I'll catch you in the next time. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily Podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.